Hi, this is Marcus Hansen from Huskers Illustrated. Is this Boyd?
Yes, it is.
Hi, Boyd. I am actually out in Fremont, Nebraska, so I am talking to you through the speaker in my car. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect.
So you're driving? You're driving?
I'm pulled over. I'm actually at the old Fremont YMCA right now. So, yeah. Hey, I was talking to the general manager of Huskers Illustrated about some out-of-the-box story ideas for the magazine, and we kind of landed on the Duvall family history of training athletes. And your name came up quite a few times when I was talking to Gibby, and he recommended I reached out to you and talk to you a little bit about how the relationship with Rick started. So I sent you an email last night, not sure if you got it, but I would really like to just hear your side of the story of how it all started with Rick.
Well, Rick was a linebacker coach for Nebraska. I'm not sure what year he started. That could be looked up pretty easy, I suppose. But maybe in 73, in 74, in that range somewhere. And you know who Ron Brown is, don't you?
Correct.
Well, back then, Rick Duvall was kind of the Ron Brown for the team, and helped athletes with their spiritual side, and was a good mentor for young players. And he actually kind of introduced me to that as well. And so he was kind of an important guy in my life. And one day he asked, and he had several children, but one day he asked if he could bring his oldest son in to see me to maybe get on a strength program. And so he brought Zach. And
that was about, Zach was about 12 years old at that time, what I remember from the Herald. Is that right?
Well, he looked about 10, but according to Zach, he was 7. But anyway, he was old enough to ask good questions, and I had a good conversation with him, and actually gave him a manual, a booklet that showed how to do the training, and explained it to him. And he was really into it. He really bought into it, and it was serious to him. And a week or so later, he came back and had a couple questions, and he was confused on one of the drills, and it's kind of complicated, and so I explained it to him, and okay, that's what that is. Okay, I don't remember which exercise it was, but it was just a simple thing that he wasn't doing quite right. But he knew he wasn't doing it right, so that's why he came back the second time. And we just hit it off, and he's been someone that believed in the Husker Power philosophy ever since.
Yes, and so I was talking to Gibby about that part of it, and I think the Omaha World Herald and Google has been able to answer a lot of those questions. Could you give us a little bit more insight on Rick? When he first came over, as far as we can tell, he was on Tom Osborne's first ever staff, and that was his first year at Nebraska. Is that how your memory collides that as well?
Well, I think it's hard to remember everything, of course, but it seems like maybe George Darlington was the first person that Coach Osborne brought in, but Rick might have been like the second. I don't remember, but it was early on in Coach Osborne putting his team together. Rick was one of the first.
Okay.
And he was the linebacker coach. Those are facts, and he was big in recruiting, and he had other responsibilities. He helped athletes try to get summer employment when they were away from the campus in the summertime, and but really big in recruiting too.
Right. According to Gibby, Tom Osborne met Rick because they were both recruiting Southern California. And then Osborne invited him to go on a trip to Southern California to look at some players together. Osborne got to know him and talked to him, and that's how their relationship kind of evolved from there. And Gibby and the internet has been very hard to figure out what Rick has all been doing outside of Explosive Edge, everything related to faith, and the oil business. So do you know how that all kind of happened?
Well, I don't know how it happened, but Rick left the coaching industry to to get into this product that you put in the engines. It's some kind of super oil that makes the engines be more productive. I don't know a lot about that, but he's done very well financially in that. I don't know if he's the owner of the company or just pretty high up in it, but he got in it pretty early. So I haven't paid much attention to that industry.
Okay. As far as, the 50th anniversary of Husker Power and everything else that's going on along those lines, can you shed some light on how the Duvall family in the early stages helped put everything together along the lines of just transforming the strength and conditioning coaches and putting it together with Husker Power, and how the family was involved with helping you do that?
Well, it was mostly Zach early on, because Gibby was not in the picture at that time. And Rick had, like we kind of said about all I know about it, his start was important to me, but then he went into that business. But Zach was the only one I was involved with there for a number of years, and Zach was he went to Kearney to play football. He wasn't a Nebraska player. He went to Kearney. But he helped me and as a volunteer, and in order to make any money, we were able to have him work with our summer camps, and he actually was in charge of the summer program camps that we had. And so high school kids around Lincoln and the area could come and do the Husker Power program in the summer camp. And he was very good. He's a very good strength coach, and I knew that, but I just didn't have positions open to be able to hire him full time back then.
Sure.
So we had to just kind of supplement his salary with these camps, and that seemed to work and keep him going. But then he went up to Omaha and opened Explosive Edge, I think around 2002 or so.
Yep.
And he actually trained my son there.
Yes.
And my son's now a certified strength coach also. In fact, a couple of years later, well, I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, but my son-in-law who married my daughter, he actually worked with Gibby there. And so anyway, we're really, there's a lot of tentacles here. We're all connected.
It is.
Like a bunch of octopuses. Yeah.
Well, it's the family like. Would you say you're family friends? Like, do you still,
oh, yeah.
do you still go on double dates, that kind of a thing?
Well, Zach kind of moved away, and I didn't have a lot of contact with Zach. Some, but more so with Gibby there, kind of in the middle of this. Now, of course, it's Zach. But when Gibby took over Explosive Edge, when Zach went out to open a training center in Colorado.
Correct.
And so then Gibby started asking me to maybe go give some speeches for him and do a little consulting on his behalf. And he did all kinds of things. He hosted events, and he went to other states and spoke, and he included me quite a bit. So he's into the Husker Power philosophy as well as deeply as Zach is.
Very much, yes. And when we were